Hello, everybody. I am Yolanda Marie. So it is good to get back to you guys again, as always. All right, there is this continuous breaking down as we move through this 8-8 Lionsgate portal. We're officially moving, and there is a continuous breakdown happening. It's going to be happening just like anything on an individual level, but also on a collective scale. So almost everything that's going to be said here, you can apply to both. Okay, so there is a continuous breaking down of this stubborn, habitual, collective mental process. That's a long, wordy way, you guys. I am going to read some from what the Arcturians, what I got through the channeling, okay? But we're going to break it down. So basically, the patterns, the mental processes that created what we're leaving, okay, and largely have left, there is a continuous breaking through of that during this time. Okay, so that is what is required for the larger collective, for one. So the larger collective is needing this continuous breakdown in order to be able to feel into these new frequencies through their heart, basically, okay? And the way the Arcturians put it is, it's what's required to move the broader collective into a new height of self-activating and self-regulating wisdom. So this is a big deal. Now here they're talking about what, let's just call it the future, okay? What the future collective, how the future collective is going to operate. This is what they're referring to in this moment. All right, self-activating, self-regulating wisdom. So this is through the broadening of the empathy, access to the heart, all right, and the collective through the heart. For those of you who are very, very awakened, have been working on yourselves, and you're doing things with intention in terms of expansion, they're saying if you can really focus on what is being created in the new, you are going to move much more smoothly through your transitions, whatever they are. That is true. But now at the same time, many of you are going to be guided to also, and you're probably already doing this if this is you. If this isn't you, don't worry, but listen anyway so you can understand what's going on in its totality. So if you are one who is naturally paying attention to some of what's happening within the planetary process, and you're aware of new awakenings, okay, even though we're not necessarily trying to incite the awakenings, they are happening because of all of these cycles. We're willing it at a larger conscious level. The human collective consciousness has decided we are bringing as many forward as possible in this. And coming through now, it's almost like a drill, like a test. Humanity is really so much more brilliant than we have allowed ourselves to understand, a lot due to the programming that we came here to break through, right? We have been programmed and conditioned to believe that humans are actually inherently evil in some way or lacking in some way. This has been the conditioning. We're actually still moving out of that. Even in the awakening community, we're still moving out of the fact that something other than human is necessarily better. We have our expanded aspects, but it doesn't mean anyone is better than the other. So this is part of the learning process here, discovering the brilliance again. There's another message coming about that, I believe, okay, through the Arcturians, okay? A lot's been coming through about that. All right, and they're going to talk about it just a little bit here as well. They're saying there is purpose in those who have some attention on what is happening on the world stage, and they're calling this like in an interim type of ground. And they're saying it's because you can reflect these current situations through the energetic lens to the larger populace, okay? So through the lens of your empathy, through the lens of your compassion, and the way they put it is it's through the lens of your quantum intelligence. So the intelligence that your field holds, that quantum information that's held in your field. You are information. You are entirely made of quantum information, because that's what we are. We operate this way. It doesn't mean we are a soul. We are part of source, and we do have this perspective. But the larger part of us is source. Source is energy and intelligence. That is what has created all of this and creates everything in all galaxies, universes, okay, and realities. All right, there is a creation point. So we are part of that. We are information. Think of yourselves like light. And so from this perspective, you are filtering, if you will, okay, just for lack of a better term, that's the first word that came through. What is happening on the planet through this empathy, and it is then accessible from that point of view to the broader collective. So you do serve a purpose, but now be careful. Do not, rather be careful not to focus your emotions, or rather focus on the situation through negative emotion or the same dense emotion that you would have in the previous paradigm. Careful not to use that old information, because you're going to experience things that you don't want to experience. It will be more difficult to move into the new experience if you are focused from that perspective on the old and on what's going on, across the planet. Okay, and we're talking about the war, the famine. We are talking about atrocities that are occurring on the planet right now. We're not going to stay on it, because in this collective that comes to these messages, all of you are not going to be focused on that. Okay, and that's the reason that we don't point it out every time. You have different directives. Your soul has different directives, and you know what they are if you tune in. And most of you are, okay? Now, if you're newer to me and you're not sure, follow your intuition. Trust yourself, okay? And really guide every decision through the heart lens. Okay, this is not woo-woo or airy-fairy. That is energy. The heart frequency has a specific focal point, a specific energy that connects to all of the other energies on the planet through the heart very easily. It connects because of the nature of this quantum information. It connects more quickly. It's more streamlined, a connection to source. So there is a reason, okay? All right, and so this can easily be interpreted, and will be quite soon. It is in some arenas interpreted from a scientific standpoint. So look for that. All right, if you need more scientific 3D type terminology, okay? But this is what the Arcturians really want to talk about, and I just want to read this last part here. And so they're saying this is actually making it more easy for others to integrate these codes coming in too, because they have access through that filter of yours, okay? Through the heart lens that you are broadcasting as you somewhat, to some degree, understand what's happening on the planet. But again, if this isn't you, do not then start to focus on that. Follow your own directive, okay? But it's good for you to understand why others may be paying a little bit of attention, or a lot of attention, to what's going on in terms of reporting on it, okay? And hopefully this helps some of you who have been unable to look away. Move through a different emotion. Really hone and practice the skill of empathy and observation while allowing yourself to be removed from it. Okay? You can create far better from the expanded frequency, a better world for those who you are concerned about, if you are not steeped in the heavy, heavy emotion of what's going on. This is a task. This is not something easy that's being said here, okay? And that, I'm not trying to imply that, but it's so important to remember how powerful you are. Your focus is so powerful, okay? All right, especially those of you with such large hearts that you cannot look away. You are powerful. So please focus into those higher, heightened, expanded emotions as much as you can. Find your joy as much as you can, okay? All right, so they're saying, think of this heart situation this way. When something has been in the dark so long and it suddenly cracks open, okay, talking about people's hearts that hadn't been previously awakened, they're saying that crack will allow in so much light as opposed to what was dark before. And so this is how they want to explain why people are more able to integrate those codes. Now, there are going to be many structures crumbling, like cycles of this, you guys, throughout this process until there is another tipping point, if you will. Okay, and that's not a thing I love saying, but that is what the Arcturians are saying. Okay, and this is one potentiality, but now we are the ones creating all of this collectively, of course, and then you're creating your individual reality at a certain level as well, especially now. But things can shift, and they can shift positively. But the best way you can help is to expand self, which is the opposite of what a lot of people would think. Okay. All right, so I hope this makes sense, everybody. All right, I love you so much. Forgive the chirping of the smoke detector, okay? I am a tiny woman. I'm like 5'1", so I got to get my ladder and get up there and change a battery. And I have been, as you are, going through it too, many different sort of ascension symptoms, releasing and especially transmuting for the collective. I'm very physical, so that can take a physical toll on me where I need to rest a lot, and then I need to find my joy, okay? So yes, I'm gonna stop practicing avoidance, and I'm going to change the battery on the smoke detector. All right. Talk to you guys again very soon. Take care of yourselves. Namaste.